I'm Hunter Kanoki, and this is Fool's FAQ, a show where I take the internet's most burning questions and give you an answer that'll make you the smartest person at your next bird trivia night. On today's episode, the shocking truth about birds. Every day we see birds calmly perched on power lines, even though those same wires carry enough electricity to be deadly to humans. It's a sight that raises a genuine question. Why are these delicate creatures entirely unharmed, while a single mistake with a power line can be fatal for us? Is there something special about birds, or is there more to this than meets the eye? The answer lies in basic physics, and it's all about something called electrical potential. So think of electricity like water trying to flow downhill. Water always wants to be going from high places to low places, and electricity works the exact same way. It flows from areas of high electrical potential to areas of low electrical potential. So here's the key. When a bird sits on a power line, both of its feet are touching the same wire at essentially the same electrical potential. It's like standing on a single step of a staircase. There's no actual height difference, so you don't fall. The electricity has no motivation to flow through the bird because there's nowhere lower for it to go. The copper wire in power lines is an excellent conductor, meaning electricity flows through it very easily. Birds, on the other hand, are relatively poor conductors, so electricity takes a path of least resistance, which is continuing along the wire rather than taking a detour through our feathered friend. But here's where it gets interesting. There's actually a tiny amount of current flowing through the bird, but it's so incredibly small that the bird doesn't even feel it. We're talking about 1 microampere. That's 0.000001 amperes. To put that in perspective, a typical household light bulb uses about 800,000 times more current than what's flowing through that bird. Now, birds aren't completely immune to electrocution. They can and do get shocked, but only under specific circumstances. The danger comes when a bird creates what's called a circuit, a complete path for electricity to flow from high potential to low potential. This happens when a bird touches 2 different wires at the same time, especially if those wires have different voltages. Large birds like eagles, hawks, and owls are particularly vulnerable because of their impressive wingspans. An eagle stretching its 7-foot wingspan while landing could easily touch 2 wires simultaneously. And when that happens, the bird becomes a bridge for electricity to flow from one wire to another. That's when things get deadly. Birds can also get electrocuted if they touch a power line and something that's grounded, like the wooden pole holding up the wires. Those poles are buried deep in the ground, creating a path for electricity to flow from the high voltage wire through the bird, down the pole, and into the earth. It's the same reason why humans get electrocuted when touching power lines. We are almost always in contact with the ground. The stats around bird electrocutions are pretty shocking, pun intended. In the United States alone, scientists estimate that between 12 and 64 million birds are killed by power lines each year, some from collisions, others from electrocution, and between 900,000 and 11.6 million of these deaths are specifically from electrocution. That's millions of birds that could potentially be saved if they were just a little bit smarter and maybe listened to an episode of Fool's FAQ. Larger birds, however, face disproportionate risks. Like take golden eagles, for example. Electrocutions account for an estimated 504 golden eagle deaths per year in North America, with young eagles getting electrocuted at nearly twice the rate of adults. In some parts of Texas, New Mexico, 34% of these golden eagles don't survive their first year due to electrocution. Good news, however, is that utility companies have developed numerous solutions to protect birds. Power lines now often feature covers made of plastic or rubber that act as barriers between live wires and wildlife. So here's a fun bonus fact that many people notice, but few understand. Have you ever wondered why birds on power lines almost always face the same direction? It's not because they're having some sort of avian town hall meeting. It's because birds naturally land facing into the wind because it gives them better lift for takeoff, just like airplanes. So on windy days, you'll actually see them lined up facing the same direction. And on more calm days, they're kind of just, doing whatever's comfortable. This behavior also helps them stay comfortable. Facing into the wind keeps their feathers smooth and helps them maintain body heat, while facing away from the wind would ruffle their feathers and throw them off balance. So for us humans, the lesson is clear. Unlike birds, we're almost always connected to the ground, which means we complete that dangerous circuit the moment we touch a live wire. This is why electrical workers wear special insulating gear and sometimes even work from helicopters to avoid any connection to the ground. It's also why you should never approach a down power line. Always assume it's live and stay at least 30 yards away. But here's a surprising twist that's less often talked about. In certain parts of the western US, studies have actually found that illegal shooting actually kills more birds than your power lines than electrocution does. Researchers discovered that nearly 2/3 of birds found dead along these wires showed evidence of gunshot wounds, making shooting actually the leading cause of death in those areas. Why shooting? Well, it turns out that power lines often cross open landscapes where some people hunt or shoot illegally, and birds perching on these wires often become easy targets. Among raptors with identified causes of death, about 72% were shot, while only 22% died from electrocution. So just keep in mind when you're actually driving along these power lines and maybe see some dead birds, it's more often from a gunshot versus electrocution. Birds have mastered the art of electrical safety through simple physics by avoiding completing circuits. They're living proof that understanding how electricity works can literally be a matter of life and death. So the next time you see a row of birds perched on power lines, you'll know that they're not defying the law of physics, they're demonstrating them perfectly. They found that sweet spot where electricity flows around them, not through them, turning potentially deadly infrastructure into prime real estate with an unbeatable view. Thank you so much for listening to Fool's FAQ. Feel free to leave a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcasts, as it also helps new listeners discover the show. For more fascinating answers to your burning questions, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and always stay curious.